We'll be going over the basics of using Acorn's Curves filter. To bring up the Curves filter, navigate to Filter, Color Adjustment, Curves, or use keyboard shortcut Command-Shift-M. Curves allows you to non-destructively adjust an image's contrast by modifying the diagonal line on the graph via control points. The left portion of the x-axis represents the shadows of the image, while the right portion represents the highlights. The middle of the x-axis represents the midtones of the image. The RGB curve can be seen by clicking on the first button at the top of the histogram. The RGB curve is where you can modify the lightness, darkness, and contrast of the shadows, highlights, and midtones of your image without affecting the color balance. To darken highlights, add a control point near the top of the diagonal line and then drag the point downwards. To lighten highlights, drag a point near the top of the line upwards. To darken shadows, add a control point near the bottom of the diagonal line and then drag downwards. To lighten shadows, drag a point near the bottom of the line upwards. We're going to go ahead and bring this point back down. To darken midtones, add a point near the center of the diagonal line, and then drag the point downwards. Or do the opposite to lighten. We're going to keep this control point in the center for now. The most common curve used to correct the tonal range of an image is the S-curve. The S-curve darkens the shadows and lightens the highlights, and that can be seen in this example here. The Filters window offers a Reset button, a Toggle Preview button, and a Delete button. The Reset button removes any changes you have made to the curve, while the Toggle Preview button allows you to toggle between the original image curve and the modifications you have made to the curve. The Delete button removes the curves filter from your image. If there's a curve you use frequently on your images, you can create a Curves preset. Create your curve and then click on the cogwheel located in the lower left-hand corner of the Filters window. Choose Create Filter Preset. Give the filter a name. We'll use S-curve and hit Save. You can then find your preset under the Filters Presets menu. The individual color channel curves are available by clicking the colored buttons along the top of the window. You can modify the red, green, and blue color balance in an image to create a warmer or cooler effect. The principles are the same as for the RGB curves, except you're focusing on a single color's shadows, midtones, and highlights with each curve. To make this image cooler, we can drag the blue highlights, shadows, and midtones upwards. We're going to hit Command-Z to undo those changes, and then head over to the red. To make this image warmer, we can again drag the red highlights, shadows, and midtones upwards. We just covered the basics of using curves in Acorn. Be sure to check out additional information on curves in Acorn's written documentation.